Welcome back aboard Blurry Force 1 with your boy Mo. And this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all of that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video. And I do want to welcome back. This is the third time's a charm, man. We're making a habit of this, I think. We got our good friend Polly of Comics back in the house today to talk about some superhero stuff. Polly,
hell yeah!
How you doing? What you
hell
been?
Yeah! I'm pretty good.
What you been up to? That's nerdy.
I've been reading Moon Knight comics from like the first appearance and all the way to, well, for now actually the first run. And I've been watching some stuff. I've been rewatching that. What's it called? Avengers Assemble.
Oh,
show.
the car.
Yeah.
Oh, the animated one.
Yes.
Those were surprisingly good, actually.
That's exactly how I reacted. Yeah,
they're surprisingly good, especially and they can't go wrong because they got my girl Squirrel Girl in it, who I love. I love her so much, and
I'm
also
still like on season 1.
They also had, I think, America Chavez is in it. I want to say it's
really had a lot of cameos.
Yeah, I want to say Shuri. I think Spider-Gwen is there. There's a bunch of people in that. Those assembles are really good.
Aren't you mixing it up with Marvel Rising?
Oh, you're right. Marvel Rising event.
Yeah,
wait. So I'm sorry, Marvel Rising. You're right.
Marvel Rising has also Kamala.
Yes, that's why I really liked it, because it had all my favorite newer characters in it. So maybe Assembled, is Avengers Assemble, is that the one that ran through a lot of the old school like storylines? Like, did they do Secret Invasion? I'm trying to remember, or am I thinking?
I'm not sure. Like, I'm on season 1. It's the one that I think was released after the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what.
Oh, okay.
What year.
Yeah.
So it's the same team pretty much, but it has Falcon in it. And well, there is like Dr. Doom and Red Skull and stuff like that. It's a pretty good show too.
Clearly I need to check it out. I'm getting 3 things mixed up, but that's fine. It's plenty of cool content.
Yeah, there are a lot of like Avengers shows.
Yeah. Have you watched Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur?
I have watched like half of season 1, I think, and then I got distracted. It was pretty fun, but like I watched it when I was doing something else and I couldn't focus entirely. So yeah, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I recommend you get back to it. I'm actually, as one of my nerdy things, me and my daughter are watching the new episode, like the final episodes. They released like 10, just like dropped them and just went on about their business. For season 2, and they've been really good so far. We're kind of taking a few every week, I guess, sort of working our way through it. Really glad about that, but I do recommend it to anyone who likes Marvel comics at all. And Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, it's just good in many ways, and also animation wise, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
I think, what else was I doing this week? I actually watched something for fun this week. I said, turn that content creator stuff, whatever. I'm going to watch something for fun. I watched Transformers 1 this week, and it was great. It's actually really great. It's a great movie. I know a lot of people are skeptical about Hemsworth playing Optimus Prime. Don't be skeptical. He's very good at Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron. Really good.
Wait, that's a familiar name.
He was Phastos in Eternals, but also he is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's in a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But he's really good as Megatron. It's a great. I thought Keegan-Michael Key might be annoying as Bumblebee, but he's actually really pretty cool. Also, you had Scarlett Johansson as what's her name, Alita. She's great. Like, it's just good. There's a lot that, hell, I even What's his name? Lawrence Fishburne shows up as one of the older
Yeah.
primes. So I think it's really good. If you care at all about Transformers, you should watch the movie. Yeah, I know it's animated and people like to poo-poo on that, but trust me, that movie is better than basically every other one of the live action Transformers.
I only watched one,
I
like
would,
the
yeah,
first Transformers movie. It was well.
it was.
Anyway,
I would say if you're skeptical about Transformers, Bumblebee is a really good one with Haley Steinfeld. I think it's really good. The first one, hey, it's iconic, but this one is like if you're an OG lore person, it's also really good. I think they did a great job. I hope they make more of them. Um, so that I mean that's my only real nerdy stuff besides just like watching what I need to watch for content stuff. But before we jump into that, I actually did want on a somber note, and this is for you, Polly, because it's related to a fandom that I know you're involved in because I've seen you talk about it. Michelle Trachtenberg passing away way too young.
yeah.
Far 39 years old, way too young. I don't know what happened or anything like that, but I know you're a Buffy fan. I just wanted you to get a chance to sort of like, weigh in on that.
Yeah, well, what can you say? That's shocking. That's sad. Pretty much all I can say about it.
Yeah, and was she a fan? One of your favorite characters? Like I know
Well,
she
actually,
played
yeah,
a
I
younger
know.
Slayer.
Yeah, she played Buffy's sister, who was not like she just appeared at some point, but I wouldn't get into that.
Mhm.
And for many people like didn't like the character because Vian annoying, yada yada, all that. But I really liked her because, well, I myself am a younger sister, so
Mhm.
could relate. Even if I watched Buffy when I was over 30, doesn't matter. I could still relate. Well, and yeah, that's really sad and sucks.
Yeah, it was just very shocking. I think I was at work and I just glanced at social media. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I thought I read it
one of
wrong, but
my one
no.
of my friends actually wrote me, and I was like, "What? Whoa!" Went to check the news, and well,
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, very sad. So yeah, she's still young, had more going on in her life, and who knows what happened, but just unfortunate to see that. Like this is the supercast. We are going to talk about superhero stuff. Superhero news. This is a huge week of news, and a lot of DC stuff. I definitely want to dive into that, but so we're going to talk about these topics. Got Paul Jenkins talking about his contributions to the MCU, in particular his one of the characters he created and everyone knows and loves and never has any criticism about, who is the Sentry. We also talking about Marvel and DC having a crossover this coming year. I know somebody in here is probably going to be pretty excited about checking that out. Um, we also have John Bernthal, who we know is reprising his role as Punisher. Well, he might be doing a little bit more in the MCU. Brad Winderbaum talks about Marvel TV, in particular, a couple series that we were perhaps looking forward to. Rob Liefeld is,
he's talking
he's salty as hell. What is he salty about? We'll see.
everything. What's he not salty about?
He's super salty. We're gonna see what's afoot there. Brave New World's box office. What's going on there, and what does it mean for the final box office for that movie? Then a hell of a lot of DC news. I'm not even gonna get into all of it because it's a lot. But let's just say the TV movies, all that stuff is going. Animation is taking a real step forward there, and some other surprising things. So, Polly, we got a lot to get into. You ready?
Let's get into it.
All right, let's talk about it. So, first off, this is for the comics readers out there. I cannot confess to being one of them. I do read comics. I'm not a regular comics reader. Trying to get better about that. But hey, even I know this is something to really kind of get geeked up about. That is that at Marvel and DC are doing a crossover this year. And in particular, they're doing 2 one-shot issues, which just want to say, Marvel and DC, stop being cowards. Just put out a 12-issue series. Don't this one-shot shit is like, come on. But anyway, they're doing 2 one-shots.
That's just cowardice.
Stop being afraid. Y'all reboot shit left, right, and center. Just do a 12-issue thing and move on. Anyway, they are doing 2 one-shots. Obviously, one of them is going to be written for the Marvel writer. The other one's going to be a DC writer. I just thought this was something cool that was going on. And also, Polly, I know you are a big comic book reader. So how are you feeling about this? Are you excited?
Actually, I think a year ago, I don't follow news, mostly like the comic book news. I prefer to find out about everything like when it's announced, naturally, when it shows up on the shelves. Anyway, I felt like a year ago or like 2 years ago when people were wondering like why the sales are dropping and the publishers and some publishers are closing and some stuff like that going on. I was thinking that it would be about time for Marvel and DC to like get together and do something massive. So that people who like stopped reading comics or stopped reading Western comics, like they got interested and excited again and went to check out at least what's going on. So I think that was that is the right move. That's very interesting. I will be looking forward to this. But 2 one-shot issues, that's really weak.
Yeah, it's
because what are you gonna tell in 2 issues? Like I don't know. It's Superman versus like Captain America. What's it gonna be? That's not something that I would like to see a meaningful story.
Right.
I would like to say to maybe like if they're doing Absolute Universe and they're doing Ultimate Universe, they could do something else. Like
exactly.
Why not?
I personally, I think that Absolute and Ultimate crossover makes a lot of sense. Except
I thought about that too.
Except I think it's pretty clear that they're trying really hard to establish these 2 continuities. Both companies are trying very hard to establish these continuities, and so they probably don't want to step on what they got going on by actually adding another element into it. But I agree, it's a little lame. It's a little like you don't really trust the concept. And it
feels like they don't trust each other. Like, okay, let's do this, but let's not do too much.
Yeah, it strikes me as a bit of let's do a what if episode or issue or episode or whatever, which is cool. I mean, everyone loves what ifs, but we would sure love to see it follow through, right? We just want to kind of, have a story, because how much can you tell, even if these are double issues, like a double size issue. So instead of 20, it's 50 some pages. Even if that's true, it still isn't going to tell a great story. It's hard to tell a good story, a good cohesive story in 50 something pages that doesn't feel.
But they could have done a trade,
it doesn't feel
a trade issue, and that would have sold. Like that would have sold a lot, I think.
They could have done an original graphic novel, like I said, 6 issues or something like that. I feel like I'm excited, but also I'm just kind of like, y'all. It feels like testing the water, which is stupid because people want to see this. Like, don't test it.
But if it's going to be successful, if it's going to be massively successful, then we probably will see more and more of it.
And my other question
hopefully, I don't know.
Well, is this amalgam or is this an actual DC Marvel crossover? Because those are 2 different things. Amalgam being, the fusion versus, Batman and Moon Knight duking it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'd be curious to see. I would love if they would just go ahead and do amalgam. Just do it, right? What's the worst that can happen? It's not like comic book sales.
It can be bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying it's not like new comic book sales are like gangbusters right now. So do a gimmick. We're at that. Can we agree in terms of comic book industry sales? We're at the gimmick point, right? Where they got to do something. That when
I think that's what they're trying to do, and I think that it's what's going to lead to that at some
Yeah.
point, because that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I will not be buying these because I don't buy brand new comics because they cost too damn much. For 15 minutes worth of reading, $5. No thanks. I'm not doing that.
And
But
from both studios.
yeah,
Hell no.
yeah.
No,
But I will check
publishers.
it out. We'll keep an eye and we'll see what's up when this all.
They're gonna get you like 10 different variant covers, and there's gonna be like this much story.
Yeah, it's. I mean, just do like they used to do in the '90s and do a whole little like issue of it's just covers of of like I don't know if you ever saw those, but like Jim Lee did a whole X-Men swimsuit thing. If you go look at
Yeah.
so I mean it's a thing. So just do
Correct.
that. Moving on to this interesting little tidbit, which is from Paul Jenkins, who was doing an interview. Paul Jenkins, if you don't know, he is a British comic book writer who has done some pretty cool stuff, actually. One of the coolest things he's done is he created the Sentry. Now, I know everyone universally loves the Sentry, right? Everyone universally agrees he's a great character that everyone totally loves and no, it's not controversial at all or whatever. He is he is the Superman of the Marvel Comics universe. One of the Superman, but he's the most powerful.
Yeah,
clearly.
they have a few.
He's a whole cheat code. But he created him, and apparently he also was a story consultant when it comes to the Sentry on Thunderbolts, which makes sense because Sentry's clearly the bad guy in it, as far as we could tell from the trailer. So, but he also let loose that he is working on a script treatment for an actual Sentry movie. To which I say, hell yeah, like I'm Kite Man, hell yeah. But I really wanted to know, like I know why I'm interested. I want to know what Polly, what do you think about this? Are you just are you just you can't wait to hear or see Sentry get his own thing?
I can't tell if you're joking or not. I think that before we get a movie about this particular character, there are a lot of other characters that would be much more interesting to see. And that's like, okay, but there are thousands of people who have movie treatments for characters. And I'm sure that a good movie can be made, but I'm just not sure it's the time yet. And see, I could have been working for Marvel, like telling people, no, it's not the time for you yet. I'm sorry. We'll contact you later. Well, really, it sounds interesting on paper, but with the amount of projects they have going on, I don't think that they have time for this or energy for this, and to create something good, they will need those.
Yeah. So. Well, I think it's pretty clear that they're gonna try to do something with it, just because.
Well, they tried to do something with Blade.
Well, what I guess what I mean is they're going to, because it's a springboard out of Thunderbolts. If Thunderbolts it meets expectations or exceeds it, people are gonna be like, "Who the hell is Sentry?" And like, it'll make sense. People will know who this guy is. So it makes sense to me that they would do that. Also, you got to think of this as counter programming, because Superman is gonna let's go ahead and call it right now. It's gonna be very successful in July, right? So, kind of as a bit of counter programming to Superman, you bring out the Sentry, who is in every sense of the word Superman, right? But he's got a bit of edgelord in him, not in the sense that he himself, Bob Reynolds, is not an edgelord at all, but his alter ego that fucks things up is, right. Like the Void.
Everybody has an alter ego.
Yeah. The Void is very much kind of like he gets to kind of play both sides. He is the Boy Scout, but the Void is very much the edgelord. So I feel like this makes sense, and also he's also a little bit about exploring people like with mental, mental health difficulties. How do you be a hero with that? So I mean, there's interesting thing. The Sentry isn't just a cheat code. He does have an interesting backstory.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's just maybe I don't know. To me, it feels like it's not such a brilliant idea to be focusing on that character, especially with like Superman. That's not something you want to compete with.
No,
because
definitely not.
Because Marvel has different strong characters, different exciting characters. They have Fantastic Four, they have X-Men. Focus on those, please, please, please focus on those.
Right. What if now?
Not on Sentry. I really I would trade 10 Sentry movies or whatever for one X-Men movie.
Right. Well, how about this? What if they, instead of doing like oh, here's Sentry in the modern day and so forth and so on, what if they instead adapted that comic? I want to say Greg Pak did it a decade and a half ago, where it was the Sentry, because remember the idea is that Sentry existed in the comics, except he intentionally had himself erased from everyone's memory because of the Void. So he would basically retire. No one will remember him, but he was in the, he was doing his thing as a hero alongside the Fantastic Four and Avengers and so forth. But he erased himself from it for the safety of the world. And this, I think, provides an opportunity to sort of adapt that, where it's more of a.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine how like casual fans of movies would react to that?
Well, we're already dealing with the fact that they're gonna have to accept that the Fantastic Four, the one we are going to get in the MCU, is from another universe where a lot more Silver Agey shit happens, right? So the Sentry could be in that universe doing Silver Age shit as a Silver Age Superman type archetype, and then he's just kind of erased from that. But also, I just like the Sentry kind of showing up because if you are up on the Marvel Zombies lore, he's also the vector for the zombie virus, right? To come into the MCU, not the MCU, but like a Marvel universe. In the Marvel Zombies thing, he punches his way from his original universe because he's so powerful. He punches in his way into another universe so he can spread the zombie virus. So we need basically the Sentry. He's a good vector. He's a good starting point for a lot of stories too. But I like Paul Jenkins.
We'll see. We'll see. I would probably see what they can do with him in Thunderbolts, and then go from there. Maybe he would become that character that we want to see on screen. I don't think that introducing way too powerful heroes at this point is that important.
Right.
But it's like it's like the same thing that we keep talking about the comics, that they keep powering up everyone, and at this point, what is going on even?
Right. Yeah. I'm interested, but we'll see. Paul Jenkins is a good writer, and I think if they have a good idea, I definitely want to see what they got going on. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this. Hopefully, we'll find out something cool, and we'll let you guys know. Sticking with Marvel Studios, everyone loves the Punisher, right? Especially police. Apparently, they love. You ever know? And American police they love the Punisher. They put that little little symbol and everything.
You don't love them.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting relationship. Let's just say it's not a good one. But John Bernthal, let's all agree. Can we all agree he's good? He's a really good Punisher, right? I really like.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all of his stuff. I haven't seen the show.
I mean, in his own show, I think that my problem personally is that I'm not that interested in the character because he's all like pew pew, I'm gonna kill everyone.
Right.
He's very good as a contradiction to like Daredevil. And he's like a really great supporting character in things like Civil War, when he starts fighting with Cap because he's still trying to kill all the criminals, and Cap's trying to make deals with them. This kind of thing is good. I think those are his best moments. or when he helps Matt break out of prison
Right. Oh, I haven't gotten to that point,
and
but
fix Darcy's.
but
Oh,
no, I get
spoiler
you. No,
alert.
I think Punisher has been a challenging character. He was originally born out of the whole character from Death Wish. I don't know if you've seen those movies from the 70s, where people are just like, I'm just going to
No.
take the law into I'm just going to take my law into my own hands
Yeah.
and blow people away because criminals are bad and can never be redeemed and so forth and so on. And there's been
Yeah,
a
but
lot of
he's been on this bullshit for like decades.
well, there's been an
Come
interesting
on.
exploration of why Frank Castle does what he does and what's his line and what's his morality.
Yeah.
And it's I think
I tried reading Punisher Max, but I think I don't remember who wrote it. Like
it's that was Garth
like you
Ennis.
guys.
Garth Ennis did
Yes.
Punisher Max.
Yes. Yeah, I did not like that.
It's a very I think the thing about Punisher is that it's a little gritty and gruesome and it's not even gray morality. It's outright being a criminal to get the criminals. Pretty
No, I
much.
think with that book, my issue was that it was trying to be way too edgy and like didn't have enough to stand up.
That was a consequence of the time too. A lot of again, we said edgelord. There's edgelord shit going on. It's you could see it even in the boys. Same guy, the boys. Edgelord shit.
Yeah. I couldn't get through those comics either.
I think
read like first trade, I think, and I was like, ew.
Yeah. Well,
enough of that.
I think the thing about this character is that like all these characters, they can be recontextualized. You can actually tease out a lot more interesting themes and like messages and stuff out of it. And so to that end, I do this news about the Punisher is very interesting to me. The fact that they are, and John Bernthal is co-writing this treatment for a Punisher special presentation for Marvel Studios.
I don't know if has he written anything before?
I don't know. I'd have to look this up. I think it's pretty clear he has a real affinity for the character. And look, most actors
spending so much time with them.
I would say most actors of any decent caliber ought to be also, somewhat capable of understanding story and character to that they can take a stab at screenwriting. And John Bernthal is not a decent actor. He's a great actor. So, and I feel like he has an affinity for the character and has a real desire to see some justice done for it. So I'm interested in that, but also he's got Ronaldo Marcus Green, who directed King Richard. Now, again, I don't know if you saw that, the Richard Williams, Serena Williams and Venus Williams' dad.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but that was a really good movie. So, a special presentation essentially is going to be a mini movie for a Punisher. I love this. I love the idea of just giving them a little space to tell a story that doesn't require 8 episodes, doesn't require 2.5 hours, something like Werewolf by Night. If we're going to get that, I'm down with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was one of my favorite projects. I still don't know why they not doing anything with it. Instead of Sentry, could we do something with that?
Well, I look at these special presentations as, hey, I have a cool idea. It doesn't need to be theatrical. It doesn't need to be a TV series. We don't have to invest, 50, 60, $70 million into this. We can invest, 10 mil, maybe 5, $7, $8, $9 million, do 50, 50 minutes. Cool. It's definitely something that doesn't require a ton of CG, right? And I think if we can actually push the character forward and into the people's faces where they're like, I want more of this, maybe we can have a reason to have a movie or something like that. I would love a Punisher movie. I'm like really for real. I would love a Punisher movie. But I don't want a retread of shit we've seen before. I want to see something new. I want the character to grow and evolve and be in the MCU in a way that makes sense.
If he grows and evolves, he will stop being the Punisher because, where do you grow as the Punisher?
I mean, if you've read any recent Punisher, or even in the last 10 to 15 years or so, he was a fucking Frankenstein monster at one point. He was dead, resurrected, and was going around doing supernatural shit. So like, it's like there's
That's
there.
not growing though. Where is he at as a person? That's what I want to know.
I think
Because he would be like a zombie if he's gonna be a zombie that's killing all the criminals, that's still
right.
killing all the criminals for the sake of like when Daredevil is actually growing, like he
Mhm.
really is growing. He's even lately he's
Mhm.
like proposed the reforming of villains and stuff like that. But where is Punisher gonna grow?
He's
I mean, he can die, and I think that's about the only real end for a character like that.
yeah. If nothing else, even if he doesn't necessarily grow, I would love to see him in the wider MCU and how other heroes and villains grapple with him. And also, what the hell does he do when weird shit happens? Like that's one of the things the MCU has dropped the ball on is what the hell are any of these heroes doing when weird ass shit is happening? Like this, look, they live in a world like we understand it's not just aliens are around. There's vampires, werewolves, there's all sorts of crap in this world. And you're telling me that they don't ever encounter any of this stuff? Okay.
And technically, the aliens that are attacking Earth are not breaking the laws of the alien planet. So
yeah, so
what
he's
would
just
Punisher have?
like I would like to
He
say
doesn't have a beef with them.
just be like, when aliens were attacking New York City, I was shooting the fuck out of them. That's what I was doing. No,
I would be like, I stayed at home because why the fuck would I even get involved in that? I'm just a human, okay? So I have a big gun. That's like that ain't gonna help.
I think technically, he was still a police officer at the time, or he was in Afghanistan. I think I can't remember. Whatever. It's continuity.
Wait,
You talk Frank because remember he was
but
a Marine.
well, yeah, since the aliens attacked New York,
I
that
think
makes sense.
he was probably in
didn't care.
Afghanistan. He was in Afghanistan, I think. So we'll just say that.
Yeah.
But either way, I think this is interesting. I'm interested. I can't wait to see more information about this, and we'll let you guys know all about it when and if we find out something. Staying on Marvel TV, Brad Winderbaum, he was doing a lot of rounds because Daredevil Reborn is about to drop next week. Everyone's super excited about it.
Born Again.
I say Reborn, Born Again. Daredevil Born Again is coming up. So everyone's doing the rounds trying to push this show. Brad Winderbaum, of course, is the head of... It
pushes itself.
You would think, but like some people don't even really know. Like normies are not. They're not plugged into this stuff. Like I have to remind other people all the time that not everybody has Disney Plus. Not everybody watches the Netflix shows. Like the widest MCU audience is the movie going audience, right? And they're not talking about any of no one's mentioning Daredevil in the movies. No one's mentioning Miss Marvel did because of the movies, but like nobody's mentioning these things. And so you kind of have to go out.
Well, that's a Marvel.
They have not figured out yet how to make Marvel TV as vital as the movies, but they're working on it, And I do like they're going on this press tour. They're figuring it out, and it doesn't hurt that you have Vincent D'Onofrio, who sells the shit out of this show as far as I'm concerned. He's really all in on it. He was actually giving he was saying really good things about Sana Amanat, who is one of their producers over at Marvel Studios, who I will forever be grateful for because she was on Miss Marvel. She was one of the people like really, really driving Miss Marvel to the finish line. And she is South Asian, so it's very dear and near to her character. But she worked on this, and he gave her a ton of credit and about how good she was to work with. That being said, Brad Winderbaum talking about TV, Marvel TV. So one bad thing, very quickly, OKOYE was going to have a series, but now she's not. She's just going to be a character that's going to show up in things. Is anybody surprised by this? I forgot that they even were talking about making an OKOYE series.
I didn't know. Okay.
I completely forgot about it. This was years ago.
Speaking of how bad Marvel is about marketing their shows.
Well, they never greenlit it. They never said for sure it was happening.
Oh, then it can be canceled.
Yeah,
it's just we were talking about it, but then we decided not to do it. Know how to present information. Not
Well,
you, I mean.
To be fair to them, Brad Winterbaum said about it when he took over Marvel TV. Like when they put all Marvel stuff in house in Marvel Studios, and then they kind of made an in house part, which is Marvel TV and animation. And he, like in the last 18 months, he became the head of Marvel TV and animation. And he basically said, like, look, we're going to do like TV usually does, is there's going to be a bunch of development, but not everything that's being developed doesn't get made, which is fair. Like, look, they put some money into hiring a screenwriter or writer's room or whatever to just figure out, is this something we can make? For, find somebody who has an idea. Let's see if we can make it. And if it's strong, we'll make it. If it's not, whatever. And that happens in TV all the time. We just don't see it. They're not most, Sony TV production, Paramount. They're not transparent about all the shit that they're working on that doesn't get made. But Marvel Studios is different because they've been very open about, hey, we got a slate, we got this, that, and the other.
Yeah, so, should just say that they're discussing it, not that they're like, yeah.
It wasn't. So this was never a thing. It was just something they were like, we're working on it. And I guess they're not working on it anymore because OKOYE is not going forward, which that sucks. I mean, I love Denai Guerrera. I think she's amazing. She doesn't get nearly enough screen time on anything, in my opinion. But it also makes sense to me. OKOYE, as cool as she is, how do you make her front a show? Like, what's her story? What's her story? That's all I want to know. What's the vital story? Like, if they did this special presentation, I'd stick around for an hour and see what she got going on. But an actual whole character, a whole show around her, I don't see that.
A special presentation would make so much more sense, and maybe it should be like about all the women in the Dora Milaje, not just her, because that's kind of an interesting dynamic and history of that whole thing. That's more interesting, I think. That I would probably do a pseudo historical movie documentary on places like Wakanda, Latveria, and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, it's yes. I think this makes sense to me. So it's fine. I'm not mad. Also, he also said that they're quote exploring ideas, which is another way of saying they are developing Hawkeye season 2. To which I say, hell yeah! I only have two requirements for this. I have 2 requirements for Hawkeye season 2. Otherwise, don't even bother. 1, Lucky the pizza dog needs to be there, because he's a good boy and I like him. I really like him a lot. Number 2, if Yelena's not there, I don't want it. I just know Yelena, I'm checking out. Because Yelena and Kate Bishop are the besties that I didn't know I needed in my life. But I do need them to be hanging out and doing, I don't know, to be Thelma and Louise. I don't care. Go around and beat up people. Just as long as they're doing it together, I'm good. So anyway, how you feeling about this?
Well, obviously I'm excited because I loved season 1. Well, I'm actually glad that we can call it season 1. I don't know if they're gonna go forward with it, because obviously, that's what they're discussing, and we don't know if it's gonna be made. But the last time we saw Kate was when Kamala showed up at her place. So could potentially lead to that, to the what they called Young Avengers.
Yep. It would be a good way to.
And I think that would be more interesting because at this point, I think Clint is already retired, and aside from like calling him occasionally and asking for help or for like advice or contacts of some better hero,
right,
there is no need for him to be in that.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the obvious things they could do is adapt the comics. I keep saying this, and I mean, I don't feel like I'm being weird about this. There are whole comics of Kate Bishop as Hawkeye that are very well received, and they're easy to do because they don't have a ton of superhero like superpowers in them. It really is her with her martial arts and her bow, right? So there's no reason they couldn't adapt those. It's at the story's right there. Just do it. Have her move to California and do her private eye thing, right? You know, they don't have to bring in all of this other stuff. I think it is my contention, and I'll continue to say this until they fix it, that Marvel's neglecting the street level superhero game is like ridiculous. First of all, it's cheap to do. And second of all, we can, as people, we can relate a lot more to them than someone who can fly around and shoot lasers out of their eyes. Like it just on a, you know, their fears and struggles trying to do the right thing are a lot more grounded in what our day-to-day, experience is. Not that we don't love seeing Superman and everything, but really like a Kate Bishop, she's college age and she's trying to figure herself out, and she can just shoot a bow really well, and she has this desire.
Her mother is super rich. I don't know how relatable she is.
Well, I guess what I mean is she's
when she gets cut off, then
well, she's a squishy human being that can't take a punch from the Hulk, and yet she wants to stand in the pocket anyway. That's just something we saw with Captain America: Brave New World, where he has the suit, but like he's a squishy guy. He can't just sit there and punch the Hulk, not easily. And so they could do these things. I really would just love to see Hawkeye season 2. Season 1 is overhated in my opinion. I don't think that there's a lot of people like
somebody hates it.
There's people like, oh, it was trash, and I'm like, get off of my timeline because you're wrong. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye and see if they move forward. I think it's likely though. Let's talk. Speaking of overhating, Rob Liefeld, salty as hell. He is saltier than the Dead Sea. This guy, I mean, his mad on with Marvel just won't end. He says that he used a baseball analogy, so I don't know if you watch baseball. So he said, "Get Feige off the mound. He's spent." That's his way of saying, he's done all he can. He's not going to get any better. Get him out of there and get somebody else in. Rob Liefeld, I just want to say, I don't think you don't want to make this call. I don't. I feel like first, not even the whole being salty about Marvel thing. Let's take that aside. As a creative, what have you done new?
Well, he ain't a creative, okay?
Yeah, I'm just like.
I mean, if
who
anyone,
are you?
There are many people in the world who have done something, who have created something, but out of all these people, Rob Liefeld is the last one who could ever be allowed to criticize anyone. Learn to draw, okay? Proportions. Say it with me. Buy a book on like human anatomy, for God's sake, and then start talking. Because I'm not joking. Like everybody jokes about how he can draw feet. He can draw anything else. Have you seen any of his faces? Like, why are they all like tinted? Like every feature, the face is square, but every feature is like leaning that way. What the hell is that?
That's hilarious. The worst.
So yeah,
the worst and most egregious.
I have a lot of.
Do you remember that?
I have a lot of issues.
Do you remember
with
that
him.
Captain America cover that he did? That
yes.
It's god awful. I can't believe people pay. If I were the editor, I'd have been like, nope, go back and do that again, because that is not it. What are you doing?
If I was an editor and he showed up and brought his portfolio, Well, of course, I would have sent him back to school, to an art school. Well, not back because he's never been there, and that's too damn obvious. Because, like, in so many years, how old is he now? I mean, he's around
he's in
60
his
or
50,
something.
he's in
Right?
his 50s, I think.
Oh, 50s. Okay. In 50 years, take a damn class. Like a lot of people, like people work in every field, and they have like this improvement classes where they trying to become a better professional. Artists take classes like all that time. They learn to I don't know, color theory. They learn different materials. They learn different things like different techniques. He didn't learn anything. Like he was the same level that he was on at like what 14. He's still on the same level.
Right.
And it's the level of a person who does not know how composition works.
Right.
Does not know how proportions work. Or how do you like arrange anything on page? He's just bad. He's terrible.
And also his opinion bad.
Yeah, his opinions are bad and stupid. And
do you know what the wait?
Wait a second, I'm not done.
Okay,
he ruined New Mutants. He ruined New Mutants, and he keeps telling everyone like, "I invented X-Force." No, you didn't invent X-Force. You just ruined New Mutants. Okay?
Wow.
It was good before him. I really well. When I say that the only person I hate is Reed Richards, that's not entirely true.
I think and you know this all came out of Captain America: Brave New World,
Yeah,
which we're going to talk about later. But the box office and everything like that, he's like, oh, Feige's done. He's not steering the ship right. Somebody new needs to come in. Let's recall the movie before this was Deadpool that made over $1 billion. So
I think he wasn't invited to some after party, and that's why he's
it was that.
about.
But he's salty. But like, I look at it, and I'm like, this is some Kathleen Kennedy bullshit all over again. Like,
yeah,
you remember all these people, and there's a rumor about her stepping down, whatever, after how many years. But and I'm sure
I think it's about her retiring, and like she planned that anyway.
And I'm sure the chuds are all like, yeah. She got kicked out for
we got her fired.
Yeah, no, it's like literally she's just like, I'm stepping down. Like I got other things I want to do in my life. And so, but
have enough of money.
Yeah,
we'll have enough of free time.
The problem with that whole thing with Kathleen Kennedy is that there's all this like mad at her about the things you don't like. But I'm like, literally under her tenure, they also had, first of all, they had 3 billion plus, movies. You don't have to have liked them, but they made $1 billion plus each, every single one of them, right? So you can't take that away from her. If you're going to say all the bad things are her fault, all the good things are her fault too, right? So three Star Wars movies, $1 billion plus each. You had The Mandalorian, which people like. All right, that's her fault too. You can't say it's not. Andor, it's her fault too. Right?
Rogue One.
Basically, so they do this thing where like they discount, oh, if it's good, she had nothing to do with it. But if it's bad, she had everything to do with it. And this is a similar thing that Liefeld is doing here, which is, yes, the Marvels flopped. Not for good reasons, but it did, right? Eternals underperformed. Shang-Chi didn't make huge box. It was successful, but not hugely so. But you also remember that at the same time, Feige's been at the helm during phase 4 and 5, not as successful as phase 3. Okay. But there have been $1 billion films in phase 4 and 5, right? Some of these movies, people forget, sometimes movies just aren't going to do what they think they're going to do. It happens. It happens all the time. That's not a reason to tell Feige
How are
to go.
Rob Liefeld's comic sales?
Well, I mean, that's why I said.
Which he loves to brag about.
Yeah, that's what I like to say.
But I haven't seen anyone buy them.
He's not the guy to be talking to about this. That's what I'm saying. Like, Rob Liefeld, I need you to go.
No.
I need you just go. Just stay in your lane. no one's asking you.
Which is like talentless hack lane.
Well, I mean, whatever his talents are in drawing, one
The
thing
Shane
one
guy.
thing that he doesn't know how to do, just like you and I. Like, look, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh man, get rid of James Gunn because whatever. I don't know how things work and how like I'm not the person to ask about that. I don't know if he's good or bad at his job. I hope he's good, but I don't know that for sure. Rob Liefeld, as close as he is to the industry, he's no more knowledgeable about what's a good executive than you or I are. So like he's just a guy. He just happened to be a guy that, is attached to some shit we know about. And
No, he
therefore,
just happens to be a guy that likes to talk and likes to like complain about everyone.
yeah.
Because
So
everyone is bad except for him. That's
yeah.
like
Sounds like Gen X shit. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, Rob Liefeld, yeah, you really put your foot in it on this one. So one last thing before we talk about all the DC stuff. And I'm gonna say this episode is definitely gonna run long. So like y'all bear with us. We're getting to DC yet, trust me. Let's talk briefly about Brave New World, Captain America Brave New World. Its box office, its second week box office, and what we can expect for its final box office. I did the math. It dropped 69% in its second weekend. First weekend was 192 million. Second was that was 192 worldwide. So I'm just talking about domestic. Domestic, of course, because Americans think America is the only place.
everywhere.
Everywhere else is everywhere else. Domestically, it took a 69% drop. And to be fair to that American centric thing, it's usually a good indicator of for a blockbuster how it's going to do. It's not always. Avatar: The Way of Water did much better worldwide than it did in America. But for some things, and I will also say for movies with black leads, domestic is king. Like the American audience is king. As I like to say, anti-blackness is always in season everywhere in the world. But so if a black-led movie is going to do well, it's got to do great in America. So, which is to say, this 69% drop is not good. It's not something unexpected though, because most blockbusters are front loaded, right? Most of them are front loaded for the first weekend. Everyone who's really, really, really into it is going to get out and drive that number up in the first weekend. So the question is, does it have legs to carry it into profitability beyond the group of people that are really, really into this stuff? And 69% is an indication that we're not sure, but maybe not. This thing needs to hit $450 million worldwide when it's all said and done. I believe it's at 289 million as of yesterday, and it's going into its third weekend starting tomorrow. So 450 million. It's in reach, but I think my personal thought on it is it's going to just barely make it. So I don't know what do you think? What are people excited about this? Are they even talking about this anymore? What do you think?
I don't know because like first of all I can say can't speak for people in America, but in my experience I think that they stopped talking about that and they switched to the next big thing, and that's Daredevil at this point. So and that's the fans. General audience, I don't know. But I think that even this kind of a big drop, it's normal. I don't know. To me, it feels like something normal because obviously, yes, the first week, all the people who wanted to see it will go see it, and then it depends on like how not even on the returning people, but how many people from the general audience will want to see that. I don't know, but maybe we'll see like during the weekend or something like that.
Yeah, I think
Because
that
how many weeks it's been since it was released?
this is going to be its third weekend,
Hmm.
starting tomorrow. So this is, I think, something that I've been talking about, and I think expectations are way too damn high for the Marvel universe. Like to the point
Yeah.
where just having a solid movie isn't good enough. And that is, something they've been trying to manage, and I think people need to readjust their thoughts about these things. Understand that, the first Captain America's, it didn't do amazing. It did like 300 or something like that, 300 something. It didn't do amazing. The second one, even Winter Soldier, considered to be the best Captain America, didn't do gangbusters either, right? It's only later, and when Phase 3 was really going strong, that these movies started to, Captain
Civil
America:
War.
Civil War really did well, as it
And
should.
that's like
Yeah,
a whole ensemble movie.
yeah,
Okay.
as it should. But with the letdown of Endgame and everything, they did their thing. They culminated the story. Bam. Now they got to start a new story. It's kind of silly to expect not just new movies, but new characters and a new storyline to also be hitting highs. You can't make $1 billion movies every damn time you make a movie. That's not real. That's not real. It's not possible. The better question is this a solid movie, a solid entry that at least breaks even and makes a little bit of money and moves the story forward and keeps these characters in front of people's faces so that they know what the hell's going on, so they can anticipate the movies that are leading to the crescendo of this next phase. To that end, I feel like Captain America does a good job. I think it could have been a better movie just to get people a lot more excited, but I don't think I think it will hit 450, but it's just barely going to get there. And if it does, and in fact, I think that in the eyes of Marvel Studios, if it at least clears 400, 415, 420, they'll take it as a win. Uh, Mainly because merchandising is a thing. I'm sure, Polly, I'm not sure if you've seen all of the fucking merch that is related to this movie. All of the merch. So when you factor merch into it and the fact that it drives business to the park, the Disney parks, um, and then maybe gets people to get on to Disney Plus. Between all of that, it'll make monetary sense. But it's not, look, this is not going to be one of those movies that makes so much money it pays for the next thing that doesn't do so well. This is one of those that's going to benefit from the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion to just kind of make the books look a little better. But it's not, it's unfortunate because I think that this also is in this anti DEI age is going to be used as ammunition against letting
Of course.
black people lead a movie. And as I said, anti blackness is always in season. There's always going to be an excuse for why black people can't lead big movies. And to be fair to the people, the
And
Beantowners,
again, they're gonna
yeah,
forget every other
yeah,
more successful situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
or they'll forget that there's plenty of white male fronted movies that fail to
Oh
do
yeah. Oh
shit,
yeah.
but that doesn't stop it because there's not an anti-whiteness thing in the world. We're held to a different standard. I wanted this to do better. I don't think it's gonna be the success that we wanted it to be. But also, if Kevin Feige and them are, got any sense, they're not going to use this as an excuse to back away from doing more diverse characters. I hope we shall see. So with all that being said, time to do all the DC news. It's took us
Yeah.
a, took
We
us
can
a, it took us an,
finally
it
move
took
to
us an hour.
DC.
Yeah, it took us an hour to get here, but we're here.
Yeah,
Now
that's
that
okay.
we're here, this is a lot of stuff. Look, there was a big. I think there was a big to do where a lot of scooping sites or whatever, like, oh shit, there's all this big stuff we're gonna go into. We're gonna get all this big news, and then it turned out to be an hour kind of conversation with Peter Saffran and James Gunn, where they were more or less just like, yeah, we're working on some stuff and these things are happening. There was no casting announcements. I think the only things that were they confirmed the director for Clayface and whatever. And they just kind of they dropped some announcements for some smaller things. So people wanted the live action stuff. So I can tell this anti-animation sentiment still is hard to go away because they dropped new things, but they weren't live action castings. They weren't talking about the live action stuff or whatever. So people were more on that stuff than the animation. But we're gonna go through all this news and see if we can make something out of what DC's got going on. I will say with all of this stuff that came out, first of all, I felt like I had a teacup and was trying to fill it up with a fire hose because I felt like a lot of stuff was coming in one shot. So it took me a little while to sort of like process everything that was happening. But animation wins big, and kind of it gives me more confidence in what DC is doing and the leadership over there. So from the top, James Watkins, who I don't know who this is, but Speak No Evil is what he directed. Not sure what that movie is or if I've seen it, but it's a horror movie. Is in talks to direct DC Studios' Clayface, which I said on this show a few weeks ago. Mike Flanagan wrote the script for it. In fact, he wrote a script so good that James Gunn read it and was like, "We have no plans for Clayface, but we're making this." Which, hey, to me that says something, because what has James Gunn been saying since he started? He and Peter Saffran, they took over. They said, if the script ain't there, you don't get a green light. We're not making things just because we're making things. We're making things that are based on stories that are complete and that are compelling. So Mike Flanagan writes a script, brings it to DC Studios, and they're making it. And they call it's going to be a body horror film. More, less superhero, more body horror. Do you know who this director is? Are you aware of it?
I don't think I'm familiar with his works because apparently I don't watch all of the movies. But it's the body horror aspect that kind of freaked me out because I'm not big on watching horror, and like whenever it's disgusting, I probably wouldn't watch it, or I will watch it and I will be like, ew. So I don't know. I will have to wait for reviews to actually consider seeing it, and I'm not gonna be seeing it. Like if it's a movie, I'm not gonna be seeing it in a movie theater, of course.
Did you watch the episode of Batman Cape Crusader that had Clayface in it?
Yeah, of course.
So I was thinking that maybe that's where they were going for, which was a little bit about. It was a little body. There was a little bit of a horror aspect to the episode. Yeah. So I was thinking maybe that, less The Fly, more like that. But I find that extremely interesting. And like I said, I'm not sure if I saw Speak No Evil. I'm not sure if I think I'm getting it mixed up with something else. But bring someone with horror sensibility. Also, this indicates that they are going to make different kind of movies. They're not just going to be aiming at Superman. They're aiming at all sorts of other kind of content. I'm down with that.
Also, it kind of gives me like the vibe of maybe it's gonna be something pseudo philosophical, like Kafka's Metamorphosis or something like that. And in that case, yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I just want them to just realize, like we know in the comics as comic book readers, there are more ways to tell a superhero story or supervillain story than just bam pow explosion.
Yeah,
and I want to see that.
Not sure if the trend of like making villain stories is really something that I'm way too excited about, because I think that we're at the point where we should be looking at heroes.
Yeah. But
need some of that.
But as a horror film, yeah, it's where a guy's kind of unraveling that might be interesting.
Yeah.
Bad news, Polly. I know this is going to make you really sad, but apparently Robert Pattinson is very unlikely to be the DCU's Batman. So I'm sorry.
Why would that make me sad?
I liked his Batman. I do.
I don't think that what they mean is that there won't be any Batman movies with him anymore. They just mean that he's not going to be in this universe.
Yeah. Or a lot of nerds are just like they're demanding it, and I'm like, why?
No, I don't think
But
that
but then there are also a lot of
it
nerds
fits.
that there are also a lot of nerds that are demanding that James Gunn and DCU stay 10 miles away from from Matt Reeves's bat. And so now they're accusing him of interfering and all this other stuff and shelving it, and it's not going to happen. To which I remind people, the first Batman, the Batman with Robert Pattinson was like 3 or 4 years later than it should have come out because of Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves is literally the reason why it took so long for that movie to come out. Because of his, he didn't finish the script, and he went and did other shit first, even though he had committed to it. So,
Man, how do you get to like how do people do that?
well,
That's for me at work when I'm like, yeah, I would finish this, but I'm gonna go do my own thing for a while. So if you could keep me on the payroll.
well, that's the thing is like he doesn't get paid. Just
Oh, yeah, no, I can do that.
just because
That
he's
I
attached doesn't he doesn't get paid until like the work starts. But there also COVID was a part of what happened too. The point is that look, it's going to be its own thing. And Robert Pattinson, y'all keep trying to shoehorn this man in. He's not.
everywhere.
He's not going to be the DCU's Batman unless there's a really compelling reason for it. And right now, it doesn't seem to be one, except that the fans know that he's Batman. All right, cool. That doesn't mean anything. So
I mean, his world and like the movie itself, they don't have
they
anything
don't
to
mesh.
do with what's.
There's literally
Yeah,
unless you're saying to me that the Batman takes place 20 years in the past. But it's also clear in the DCU's universe, superheroes have been around for a while, so they don't make sense. And then you want to fit the Penguin in there too? No, just move on. It's fine. There can be another Batman. Trust me, it's fine.
yeah, that's true. And there are many different versions of Batman in the
Yeah,
comics too. So.
we don't need that. It's fine. It's cool. Robert
Yeah,
Pattinson,
we
he's a
can
good.
have two.
Yeah,
Why would you complain about having like more than one Batman around?
because nerds are fucking weird. That's
What's
why.
that about?
We're weirdos. That's why we
Like,
complain.
oh no, thank you. That's too much. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's not enough.
Speaking of Batman, Batman the Brave and the Bold, sadly, it's still in development. It sounds to me like they're having a script issues, and also story issues, but also they haven't locked down. Supposedly, who was supposed to be the director for this? I feel like I know this. But either way, they had a director, but it doesn't seem like the director's locked down anymore. So Batman Brave and the Bold is in limbo right now. But on the Batman good news, they are still working on the animated multimedia presentation Dynamic Duo, which is about Dick Grayson and Jason Todd as doing their superhero thing. But it is still at where it sounded like they are definitely making progress on it. Not greenlit yet though. Important. And Blue Beetle.
So they're talking about it.
Well, it's not. No, they are an active develop. So the way I look at it, active development is they paid somebody to do something. So in this one, I think they are paying script writers to lock down what the story is, and I'm pretty sure this also means they're doing pre-production because this movie is not just an animated feature. It's not a live action feature. It's a multimedia deal. So there's more to it. The pre-production is probably more involved.
Well, that sounds
normal.
scary. That sounds like something,
They're talking about
Well, I don't
puppetry
know what
and,
to
they're talking about puppetry and stop motion and animation.
Oh god.
And I'm just like, no, this.
I mean, as
you gotta pay
interesting
somebody
and
for that.
creative as it sounds like puppets.
It's to me it again from
I don't know.
the interview. It sounds like that they are confident in what's happening. It just isn't there yet. So
I
it's
think
not
that
ready.
it's To me, actually, it sounds like well, the word puppets freaks me out, but that's a whole other story. I'm just not a big fan of puppets. Anyway, it sounds like they have a fun idea and they have fun, like they're having fun creating something, and usually that means that we're gonna like it.
Yeah,
So
I'm
yeah,
really
I
interested.
think there's something to be excited about.
I love the idea of just having these side characters get a little more shine. Because again, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, we love them, but like they ain't the only characters. Like let's see more. Let's see more people. Um, and this is kind of goes back to my thing about how animation is kind of the winner in this whole presentation. Just because I am happy that they are going all in on animation. We already saw what was it, Creature Commandos, to me
Mm.
do quite well. It's a great show, and they're going to do more of it. It's already getting a second season. They're using animation as an opportunity to expand the universe without breaking the bank, really. I mean, it's not super cheap, but it's not as expensive as making live action or whatever. And also, animation doesn't require the actors to be in the same room at the same time. So scheduling is a lot easier. You can do you can do voice acting from anywhere now. So it makes it a lot easier to actually produce these things on a budget without having scheduling conflicts and all sorts of stuff like that. That's great. I like that they are doing dynamic duo. They also are still working on Blue Beetle. That's another thing they were talking about. Which, if you recall, Blue Beetle was one of the first characters they confirmed was going to make the transition to the new DC universe. Like that, the movie, which I love the Blue Beetle movie, is so generically in the DC universe that they really could just like Peacemaker, just pick it up, bam, all right, it's in this new one, right, and just keep it moving because it's not tied to those Henry Cavill and Ezra Miller and so forth, and because of that, we are definitely getting Blue Beetle, but it's an animated series, but not greenlit. They're still working on it, which I'm happy to hear. I don't know. Did you like the Blue Beetle? Was that that a thing
It
you cared
was
about?
okay. I think I wasn't like a huge fan of it, but I didn't. I think I need to rewatch it. Because I I think I did not pay enough attention. Maybe I'll do it like one of these days. Mm, but it was fun. It was good, and it was a very like a breath of fresh air after several previous DC movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did forget to watch Peacemaker. I keep forgetting
What?
about it.
Get on that. Peacemaker season one's great. If you liked, okay, how about this? If you liked the Suicide Squad, if first of all, if you like James Gunn's brand of found family adventure kind of crash shit, it's there.
No,
That's
I thank you. I hate all those
yeah.
movies.
If you like the guard, if you like guard, but if you like
No, I hate them too. I'm
if
just
you like his brand of storytelling and the way he brings his characters together, the Suicide Squad. If you like that movie, Peacemaker is basically for you. It's really good. In fact way better than it should have been. It's one of those times like there's a I hated Peacemaker at the end of the Suicide Squad because of what he did. Like I didn't hate the character. I didn't hate the performance. I hated the character because I'm like, fuck that guy. And then Peacemaker was like, well, actually, now that you meant, actually, I kind of love the guy. That's the sort of turnaround that happens in 8 episodes. So you should go watch it.
okay.
Especially because Peacemaker season 2 is coming out in August, so you got until August to get it.
Yeah.
All right. Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna be so busy. It's like the whole summer of like nothing but Nordshade.
you can. I think you could do it once you. I figured that the first episode you'll know whether or not it's for you, but I think it will be. Um, Animation. So they DC announced 3 new animated series, and these aren't just like we're working on them. Eventually they'll come. No, greenlit. They're coming out, and they are younger skewing. To which I say, thank you, DC. Thank you for having some damn sense. I wish Marvel would fucking lean into their younger skewing stuff too, because look, I'm about to be 45 in a couple months. I'm not gonna ask your age because you don't ask a lady her age, but you're.
That's okay. I'm 36.
See, you're not old, but you're not like the young person.
Well, I'm older than some people. I'm
Yeah,
also younger than some
yeah.
people.
But so you and I, and other people, we're the aging audience of these things, and we love them, right?
We're not aging,
No,
okay? Everybody's aging.
I am age. Look, I am age. Like I tell my
We have a certain age. We're people of a certain age.
yeah,
Okay?
I tell my daughter, I'm like, things aren't made
Like
for
Stone Age.
things aren't made for me, and that's good. They should be made for you. Like young people they're the driver of the cool and everything, and young people young people, they know superheroes, they like them, but I wouldn't say that they are like flocking to Marvel and DC all that's like that. And part of the reason why people our age are big fans of some of these characters is because we had animated shows. We had the DC animated shows, right? We had the Marvel shows, we had X-Men, we had all this
I
stuff
had X-Men
happened.
Evolution, which is the whole reason
Yeah,
why I'm reading the comics, because
yeah,
they were the same age as I was when I watched it.
yeah, exactly.
And that was the thing that brought me
And
in.
these were they were aimed at, they were young, 10, 7, 8, 9, up until like mid-teens. They were aimed at those people, and they grew an audience of people who knew these characters and loved them. And when they said, "Oh, we're doing live action," like, yeah, right. And they need more of that. We need more of that. Teen Titans Go, I contend, may be the most important superhero animated show of all time. Even more than Super Friends was hugely important in the 70s to get people. But I say Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go because a lot of kids sat and watched that and were like, yeah, Teen Titans and superheroes, they're dope, right? So we need that for younger people now. So to that end, that was a big preamble to this. 3 new animated series. I'm very excited for these. I am going to watch all of them. I don't care if they're not aimed at me. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur were named at me, and I'll watch the shit out of that. So, My Adventures with Green Lantern, DC Superpowers, and Starfire. Right. So, My Adventure with Green Lantern is about Jessica Cruz, who is probably the newest Green Lantern. She's a Latina who has the Green Lantern ring, and she's young. She's a younger Green Lantern. In this case,
I thought she was like 20 something.
Well, younger than the other ones, basically. I know Kyle Rayner is whatever. Kyle, he's whatever. He's not a young guy, in my opinion. And definitely not Guy, and definitely John Stewart, definitely not Hal. So, but it's about a high school student who basically gets a ring and has to deal with the, kind of the effect on Earth of the debris from like a space battle coming to Earth and all the problems that come with it. But she gets a Green Lantern ring. It takes place in the My Adventures with Superman world. That's huge to me because My Adventures with Superman is amazing. I don't know. You've watched it, right? So
yeah,
I'm a huge fan. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm a huge fan of that show.
It was great.
Yeah, so they're expanding the My Adventures with Superman universe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Look, James Gunn.
I mean, Jessica Cruz is pretty much one of the Green Lanterns and the characters in general that I wanted to read about for a long time. I never had the time, and maybe after that I will find the time. But that's really one of the characters that I want to know more about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited about this. And well, that's cool. That's just great.
I just want
and high school also. I love Yana Dowd stuff.
Always, yeah, those are always big cool. I really desperately want them to build out, like literally make a whole little side universe of just My Adventure with Superman. Build that out into something else. I would please make that true. Make My Adventure with Green Lantern with Hawk Girl.
Everyone.
You could be My Adventures with Shazam. I don't give a damn. Just make more of it. Because they understand that so well with My Adventure with Superman. If this hits the same way, I can't wait. The next one, DC Superpowers. So it's this that you were just talking about high school. This is their answer to Hogwarts, essentially. It's basically just like, or for more comic book related stuff, they fucking beat Marvel to Strange Academy and Avengers the Initiative. Both stories about young heroes who need to be trained up.
What was it? Avengers Academy too?
No, they beat them to
I
X-Men.
like X-Men.
They beat them to X-Men. How you Marvel, right? how y'all let DC beat you to X-Men? That's crazy. That is wild. Right? I can't believe that. But they're so this
we
literally,
still haven't seen the school.
Yeah,
like, it's forever, and they just even not doing that in the comics anymore.
It is, to me, it's wild that DC was like, nah, we got this. We're gonna do the same. We're gonna do your shit.
Because that's such a cool concept, and it's always fun to watch.
Yeah,
this is again back to the X-Men Evolution. The whole point, the whole premise of that show was that kids lived together in a really cool house that, yes, happened to be attacked a lot of times, but they were learning and they would go into a normal school, and that was so cool. That was so fun.
Yeah, it's
for me as a teenager at the time, and like for me as a 36-year-old woman, it's equally interesting. It's equally fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I'm gonna really be excited about this one.
It says here that it's the Alliance School for Heroes, and it's got new students: Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, Aqua Girl, Green Lantern, and Terra. We know Green Lantern's going to be Jessica Cruz. I swear, if that's Hal Jordan, I'm just going to reach through the screen. No, nobody wants to see that. But
okay, that's going to be that other guy.
Flash is probably going to be Wally. Probably will be Wally. Terra, of course, like, they don't need to pick one of those. Aqua Girl, I don't know Aqua Girl. Maybe this is just specific a gender bent version of Aqua Lad for this show. Plastic Man doesn't get enough shine. I'll be interested. It's probably gonna be, Plastic Man.
Isn't just like DC's local resident Reed Richards?
No, he's better than Reed Richards in every way. And also,
no, I mean, doesn't he have the similar power?
Yeah, he got the same power, but he's not not a genius.
Not an asshole.
Yeah. And Lightning, I'm going to assume that's either static or it is Black Lightning, but like, without the black part. Gonna be black guy, but they're not going Black Lightning because, like, why? Why would you call? They don't. they don't call.
It's Black Falcon.
Yeah, they don't call Giant Man White Giant Man. So like, anyway.
Why don't they?
Oh
my God! Look, that's White Superman. Oh, damn! That sounds crazy.
It's White Superman. We just make sure we know the difference. Which one are we talking about? The white one. It looks like Martian Manhunter is going to be the principal of the school. It'll be Hogwarts. Definitely. It sounds interesting. Then Starfire, which is about basically the character from Teen Titans, which is a genius to me because she is an alien, and so she can do alien. She came from another planet. She got up to some adventures. Apparently, she's going to meet up with Lobo's daughter, and they're just going to be cruising in the universe, doing adventures. Hopefully, they'll do it like the show Adventure Time, just to be extra fun and weird. There's a possibility, like if you bring in Lobo's daughter in, there's gonna be some weird shit going down, and I'm there for it. People know Starfire, they know they know Teen Titans, they know who Starfire is. This makes all the sense in the world to me. What do you think?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm still like, this reminded me that I still have like this this Titans books by Kami Garcia and I forgot the name of No, it's so bad. I even follow him on Instagram. Anyway, the Starfire they did a series of young adult graphic novels. There was one about like Robin, about the Beast Boy and Raven and stuff like that, and they did a Starfire book, and I still haven't read it. But I love those series so much. Again, young adult stuff. DC is doing a lot with young adult, obviously, because they have these books coming out and they have these shows coming out. So they are targeting younger audience, and that's cool. That's awesome. That is exactly what they need to do.
Yeah,
And it's something Marvel should be doing.
They have to grow the audience. The audience, we can't. That is, to me, the problem with comic books is the problem that they're trying to address here. The comics, unfortunately they're not going to fix this problem. It's an older skewing audience. It just is, and they are not replacing it with younger people. And manga has basically supplanted comic books as the version of graphic storytelling. For better or for worse, it is. And American comic books have just not figured it out. So they keep catering to the older audience and keep catering to, and then eventually they're gonna, it's gonna just be too small of an audience. So this is, to me, this is smart.
Well, then we'll finally catch up and read everything.
Yeah, I mean, if they can engender in people the passion for these characters, yeah, then they'll go back and read comics. But it's, you got to catch them somehow. And I to me, it makes sense. Just do it this way.
I don't know what does it, what the trick is to it, because I can only compare it to what happened to me, because I just wanted more stories. I watched the characters on the show and I wanted more stories about them. They craved more stories, and that's when I went out seeking the comics, and they were different, and I was, wow, like these characters are actually adult here. They're not teenagers, but the stories are also cool. And with DC, that they can watch this and then they can like look for this young adult graphic novels,
right?
And then they can transform, like move on to the comics. And I think that there are ways to make it easier for new readers, and maybe Marvel and DC are not exploring all the ways that they could be. That could have been done.
I think
aside like from reboots and spinning off another universes.
That's making it more fucking confusing for new people. Like, it's a good jumping on point, but it's more confusing. I think, well, obviously, I think price and availability is one of the main problems with comics. I don't know how much you spend on comics per month, but I guarantee you the cost of 2 comic books will get you Disney Plus for a month with ads. That's way more. That's a month,
but there is Marvel Unlimited.
That's true.
I recently paid my my bill like for a year ahead.
It's very true.
That's great. And honestly, I think that maybe it makes sense to like focus on trades and Marvel Unlimited. I don't know. That's just how I feel. But that collectors.
It doesn't address that doesn't address the new comic situation, because new comics are way too expensive. They just are. I realized this a decade and a half ago. I was like, I just spent $4 and I read this for 15 minutes, and the likelihood of me going back and reading that same one again is pretty low, because I have a ton of other things I could be doing. Like, I have video games, I have movies, TV shows. It's not a good.
There's also, it's not only the price issue, but it's to me it's the issue of having long breaks between reading small issues. That is difficult, and the story doesn't play out as it's supposed to play out. So you have a different feeling for the story when you read it monthly from when you read it when you binge it. And when I binge it, I usually like the story more. I sense the flow. It's like watching a movie in like short breaks, over 3 weeks. That's just weird.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Our last few little bits of things here. We probably, related. I don't want to cut that off, but probably should have just a whole like a thing where just a bunch of us sit and be like, "What the fuck's wrong with comics right now, and why? How can they fix this?" And I'm sure DC and Marvel they've done this a lot, but it is so serious. Like I grew up, I used to read the shit out of comic books, and then I didn't, and I haven't come back to it. Like not really. And there's got to be a reason why it's not working as a medium. I suspect it's not just price, it's not just quality of story. I think it's competition that's killing it. But well, that's another time for another thing.
Well, we actually just to add to this, we actually discuss that a lot on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What?
I was saying I know we talk. I'm just like I know a lot of people read them a lot more than I do, and I'm just like I think they need to figure it out because the comics are literally where the ideas for the movies and TV shows come from, right?
Yeah.
And if they don't figure it out, or at least accept like, hey, it's a dying art form, and it's just gonna be we're just gonna subsidize it because otherwise they're gonna start making, they're gonna start making stories original for the movies that are based on these characters, and we've seen how that has fucked up badly at Sony. Sony ruining it, just like fucking up left, right, and center, just making up their own shit. So I don't want to see that happen. So the last bits of news for DC, stuff that's in the works, which is take this with a grain of salt, whether or not you should be excited or not for these things. The Sergeant Rock movie, they're just talking about
What's
it.
that?
So, yeah, exactly. What? Sergeant Rock is a DC character from when they were doing war comics, back in the 60s and 70s. But he's basically, remember Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos, like that before he was Nick Fury. Before he was Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., he was Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos back in the World War II. Same thing here. They were going to make they were talking about, we're going to make a movie with Luca Guadagnino directing. Luca Guadagnino, he was the guy that directed Challengers, the Zendaya movie. The Zendaya tennis movie. He's done other stuff. But also, Daniel Craig was supposedly going to be attached. Well, that's not happening. Daniel Craig's not going to be. It was just a rumor. But they were like, yeah, it was just a rumor. We're talking about it. We're working. Luca. They're developing it. So it's in a standby basically until they figure out the script. As again, script is king. If it's not approved script that's good, it ain't getting greenlit. Teen Titans is in the work by Anna Nogueira. Anna Nogueira being the screenwriter for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is in development. In fact, they are halfway through filming right now. They're in London, I believe, filming this as we speak. And James Gunn has gone all in on Anna Nogueira. I will say that. He's saying,
what do we know any of the works?
Her other work? I wish I could quote it. I don't know. I think she may have been I think she may have been a playwright. But
I don't necessarily like. I don't ask that because for them to prove to me that they deserve the opportunity. No, I just want some frame of reference, like what to expect.
But
that's why
I look at it as James Gunn is, very excited about her as a part. She's part of the brain trust over at DC Studios. If you take anything away from this, is she's part of the story, group at DC Studios right now. So she's super important, and she's working on a Teen Titans script based on essentially the fact that he says she was very excited. She had an idea. She was very excited about it, and she's working on it. So he sounds very optimistic about it, and I think that's what to take away from that. He and Peter Saffran also talked about a potential Bane and Deathstroke project that's being worked on. And that's all it is. It's just a potential script. they gave an update on Booster Gold, which I don't know if you cared about. I was like, hell yeah, please make Booster Gold a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, all the
Please,
time. Every time you're like, hell yeah.
I want
Yeah, no,
that.
I was excited about that too.
I want it really
Okay,
badly.
so about Helena Guerra, I apparently don't know her as a director or as a screenwriter or anything, but she did have I think she did have a role in the Vampire Diaries, which is
I said,
yeah, 5 episodes. Okay,
I don't
I didn't know that.
My understanding is
That's
she's a
all I know
screenwriter.
her
Yeah,
from.
see, there you go. Let's see. Booster Gold they're still working on it, and Paradise Lost they're still working on it. That's the Wonder Woman prequel. I think it was supposed to be animated.
Yeah.
I want to say it was supposed to be
I
animated.
need to read more Wonder Woman.
It's about the women of Themyscira and whatever before she was born, before Diana was born.
Oh.
But that seems to be more in development hell because it was one of the very first things that they announced. They announced their slate of things that they're working on. Is apparently in not want to say development hell, but it is definitely not where it needs to be in production. Booster Gold, they're still, like I said, still working on it. Apparently, it was because the showrunner that was going to be attached to it went off to do something else. So I think they're looking for a showrunner now, but they do want to do the show. And Swamp Thing was on hold. And again, another thing that was announced when they said, "Hey, we're taking over. This is our list of things that we're going to do." Swamp Thing was announced but it's been on hold because James Mangold was attached to direct, and to develop and direct it. But he went off, as you said before. Like you can just stop working on something and go do something else. Yes, if you're a director of James Mangold's quality and caliber, yes. If you are more interested in something else, you can be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this." He was more interested in going and doing a complete unknown about Bob Dylan with Timothy Chalamet, which of course.
Oh, I thought it was like an unknown project.
No, a complete unknown.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time to follow all the movies this year, so I'm like everything that
it's currently
I still have so much to watch.
It's currently a complete unknown is in Oscar contention. So it's rumored to be in Oscar contention. So yeah, Mangold.
I don't know, I'm just rooting for a Wicked. That's all I'm rooting for.
Don't put too much money on it because it's too popular.
Well, I'm gonna be sitting, there and screaming that they've been robbed.
Yeah,
I'm used to it after Angela Bassett.
Yeah,
I'm used to it.
It's too popular. That's probably what's going to happen. But yeah, he went off to do that. So now I guess his slate is clear. Hopefully, Swamp Thing moves forward. Waller, something else that was announced when they announced the slate for DC Studios.
That's a project I'm completely uninterested in.
You don't like Amanda Waller? You don't like The Wall?
I don't like her. I mean, she's. I think
she's not a huge part of Peacemaker, but she's in it. She's not a huge part of it, but everything.
Who plays her?
Viola Davis.
I do love Viola Davis.
So she basically Viola Davis has been the Amanda Waller since the first Suicide Squad movie. She was very prominent, like kind of a prominent side character in
I watched that. Yeah, but I don't like the character, and I kind of hate the character.
Yeah, she's like, what if Nick Fury was not just an asshole, an outright villain sometimes? She's basically that.
Exactly.
And I actually find it.
I mean, she's not a. I don't think she has done, like, from what I've seen, and it's not a lot with DC. Like, my frame of reference is very tiny compared to all the comics and stuff that's been released ever. But I haven't seen her do anything that would make me think, like, wow, she has a heart or a soul.
Oh, yeah, I mean, she does.
I don't think I can handle a whole show about a person like that.
Well,
but Viola,
Yeah, it is. I don't think, and it's not James Gunn. I don't think he's not doing the script. If
Yeah.
he is, I'm not sure. But you know, his ability to turn people around it's kind of legendary at this point. I'm not kidding. If
Oh,
it,
thank God he didn't write Fantastic Four.
yeah,
Damn.
if you look,
I would have been like, oh my God, Reed is the best of all of us.
well, if you watch the Suicide Squad and you see the reason why I said I hated Peacemaker at the end of it, and then you watch the
Yeah.
Peacemaker show, and you're just like, how did he do that? It's magic. It's almost like, you know,
Okay.
real narrative magic to make me turn around on a character like that. Because man, I wanted at the end of the Suicide Squad, I wanted Bloodsport to kill that motherfucker so bad. It's not even funny. And he turned around. So like it's possible. He could make you I would hate it because Amanda Waller is supposed to be a villain. And I don't mean a villain in the sense of Lex Luthor or, you know, Sinestro or fucking
Just an asshole.
she is the worst kind of villain. She's the kind of villain is by any means necessary. She's gonna complete her job, even if it means doing the worst things possible. And she thinks it's for the greater good. She is literally, what if Nick Fury with less conscience? And you know how hard it is to have less conscience than Nick Fury. Nick Fury will do some horrible shit. You know, he will do some truly terrible things to keep, you know, for the sake of Shield and America and all that other stuff. And she's that, but worse. So I'm interested. I want them to get that together. The Authority also, another one they announced at the beginning of the slate, also is having script issues, and apparently it's going to be ongoing because they put some of the things they were going to do in the Authority movie into the Superman movie. So it may be a while before we see the Authority. um, that's a lot of stuff. And the last thing, Peter Saffran was like, "Hey, this is our plan. Our plan for output. Ideal plan. This is not going to necessarily stick to it. It's not going to be like Marvel, like we're going to do this definitely. But their ideal output is 2 live action movies per year, or every year, 2 live action movies, 1 animated movie, 2 live action TV shows, and 2 animated TV shows. That's their ideal output, which I don't know. I have some thoughts about this. How do you feel about this? You know, this proposed.
That's too much because some of us have jobs and some of us have like stuff to do around the house, and I don't think I can manage so much because we have stuff coming from Marvel, we have stuff coming from DC, we have comics to read, we have books to read. I can't finish the book that I'm reading because there is so much going on. And as much as I'm excited to see all that, I don't think that I will have to do it all. Or have the time to do it all.
Wasn't I just saying something about nerds complaining about about stuff? We're complaining about
I know. I'm complaining about those nerds too.
We had a
But
drought
doesn't stop me
20
from
years
being.
ago. 20 years ago, we had a drought of of stuff, and now it's too much. But I'm not gonna say I don't
Yeah,
like.
but most
I
of it costs money,
yeah
and you have to subscribe to like HBO. You
yeah
have to subscribe to Disney Plus. You
hmm
have to subscribe to like some other stuff. I don't know, Netflix or something or
right
whatever. You have to subscribe to Marvel Unlimited and DC, whatever it is,
hmm
which they don't have here. Uh, which I'm still salty about that. That's tough to be salty about. Like, how can you not release it like worldwide there with the comics? Like,
right
you would have had my money, but you don't want it. Okay, I'm giving it. And movies, obviously. Like, you want to see the movie in IMAX theater, preferably like several times. I don't have time for that. And that's how I end up only going once. And that's how they end up losing money because I would have won twice or 3 times, but I just don't have time for that.
yeah. I mean it is a lot. I think they're not going to stick to this, but it's more so it's an ideal and not a hard and fast rule, and that's fine. I think I like their approach. I think they're script first. If it's not ready, we're not half-assing anything. It's ready or it's
Yeah.
not. So we're not gonna
I think it's
we're not gonna green
we
light anything.
we this always is said like this. They approach to green lighting the projects. It's always like as look at what they doing as compared to Marvel. But I don't think that either one of them is particularly right because we know how Marvel does things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work so well. But different approaches doesn't mean that one is better and one is worse. Because
Yeah,
there are unexpected hits, and Marvel knows that there are unexpected hits.
right.
They've experienced it. We experienced it. So I don't think that something that we should be focusing on. And just because the script is ready and the script is approved, it doesn't necessarily mean that the script
Yeah,
is good.
it
Because
doesn't mean
somebody
yeah.
approved Madam Web. Okay, somebody
Well,
somebody read that and said, "Oh,
my understanding
great,
is
let's do it."
they rewrote the script in the middle of working on it, which is something that James Gunn and Peter Safran are trying to avoid for good reasons because
It's but it's
cost overruns, and then like you have got
yeah,
to know what you're
but it's
doing
not
getting
necessarily
into
a
it.
bad thing. Like not every rewrite ends up
Well, that's just
like
true.
like Madam
The
Web.
Marvel method of filmmaking has produced some amazing things. Iron Man, notoriously, the very first one was not a completed script. They ad libbed a lot of that shit. So it's not like you can't make things work. But I think James Gunn looks at it as you're adding unnecessary stress and headaches and potential for disaster by sort of not going in knowing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, but didn't they leave a lot of stuff on set of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, I don't mean that. I think the idea is that with Madam Web, they literally rewrote the story. There one thing,
Uh-huh.
ad lib. There's on set. There's always like let's try it this way. Let's try. That the actors may bring in some of their ideas. It's fine. Like that's one thing. But with Iron Man, some of the story literally wasn't done, and they were just sort of like figuring it out as they moved along.
Making it up as they went along.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when it worked, it can work, but you are really
Yeah.
asking. You're really asking, especially in this day and age of superhero movies and high fantasy and sci-fi movies, needing previs, needing a lot of like, they need to hand work off before they're done filming because they need them to start working on assets that are going to eventually go into the CG. So knowing exactly what you want and how you're going to do it is extremely important. Like because you save money that way, but you've done a lot of work ahead of time, and you don't have to ask them to redo shit they've already finished. That's Marvel. One of Marvel's biggest problems is asking for redos, and you're asking for hundreds of man hours to make something that if you had known what you were doing ahead of time, is unnecessary. It's a cost overrun. So I get it.
Yeah, and everyone who works like with people like who works on projects,
Yeah.
they know what
Yeah.
that's about. So
Exactly.
when you're obligated to do edits,
Yeah.
like please redo this, please let's change this, please make this beautiful. Yeah.
It's annoying. It's called if you're in IT, scope creep or feature creep. But when it comes to CG, it literally is. Oh, we didn't like the way that looked. Let's do it this way. And James Gunn doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't. He storyboards the entire movie, right, based on his script. He storyboard, so he knows exactly what he wants. And I'm not saying he's requiring that level of perfection from people, but he is requiring that the movie or TV show or whatever, they have locked scripts. So and they are not going to deviate from that and beyond like some little stylistic changes or what. But the story is set because they don't want any weird or deviations that kind of could potentially be great, but more likely is not going to be great. So there's a lot of stuff here. I really like
Yeah.
this interview, this article really gave me a lot to think about. seems like it gave you a lot to think about. I'm sure a lot of people are really kind of chewing.
I think it gave me a headache. So much stuff.
I'm just going to reiterate. I have all the faith and confidence in what Peter Saffran and James Gunn are doing over at DC Studios, and I cannot wait to see what the studio comes out with. I'm happy as hell that we're getting all this stuff. It looks cool, and we're gonna keep an eye on it. We'll let you guys know what we think about it. So, yes, this has been a long conversation about all of this stuff. Somehow, I bet we missed something. Well, there's got to be something we didn't talk about that we should have talked about.
I think we got everything.
But maybe you guys just you had a comment, something you wanted to say. Hopefully, something nice about what we were talking about. Whatever the case may be, you know what to do. Get down to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. Of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_forest1 on Instagram and Threads, super_not_funny show on TikTok. And while you're showing love there, also show love on this video. Hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the other content that we make on Blurred Force 1. And of course, I couldn't do this by myself. Had to call, I put the poly signal out. That's, it's put it, the poly signal, it's Reed Richards, but like with that little red thing, strikeout over it. And she came running. And I appreciate it. So, Polly, where can they reach you on social media?
Well, as always, it's @co_mixed on Threads, on Instagram, and like everywhere you can find it. Not on Fanbase though. That
is a whole.
Yeah, I keep forgetting.
That is. Well,
that's over.
Yeah, Fanbase. That's a whole thing, and I'm not going to go into it because.
No.
I don't even feel like talking about it. If you know, and if you don't, just don't worry about it. Don't sign up. This has been episode 172 of the Supercast. We appreciate you coming and listening with us. Come back next week. Plenty more to talk about. I think it's finally about time I said something about Invincible. haven't said enough about it yet.
I haven't even watched yet.
Yeah, I need to get
the
caught
second season.
I may end up waiting until
the third. Is it the third season?
It's season 3. And
I think so, but
I may wait until the end of the season to get to talk about it. But we're gonna talk about news and everything that's coming out next week. So until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Polly, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.